page on the opposite side of this. It was actually on the 7th was her winter concert. So we are going to do a fun interactive page. That's why I have all of these little pulled. And we're doing like a row of the presents. And they're all going to be pullouts. So somehow make them interactive as so. To describe like what songs they sang, how long she was prepping for, and all the good stuff, and how our weather drastically got cold down here in Florida, and how the outfit had to change like day of because it was cold here in Florida. And cold for us, you know, that means probably it was like 60 or 50 degrees. I don't know. So that will be kind of stuff. I don't know where the number is going to go. We have to figure out the interactive parts, but that is the goal in my head, because then story 8 coming up after that, I am definitely trying to use the wreaths and create the 8 and somehow make the story fit there. So 7 had to be on this side because 8 was going to be an interactive page is what was in my head. So I was pre-planning there. That was so proud of me. Okay, so this worked out really good. So I just used all 5 of the presents. I think there is only 5. There may be 6 and I might have 1 extra on my desk. But to me, when I look at like embellishments like this, I either think, am I going to have 5 different occasions throughout my course of my album where I'm going to be able to use said presents, or am I just going to use all the presents on one layout, and I go with that option. It just always, to me, I think packs a punch. Like the same for the ornaments. Like if you're able to use them, are you going to use them independently? Or I might find a way to use like all the little die cut ornaments on one page, because that will really pack a punch. So I also decide as I'm making it that I don't need to make each one of them a pull tab for journaling. I can make the font, you know, a little bit less or more. And I decided just to make 2 of them to be pullouts, and it's going to be the bottom 2, and just have the top 3 as decorative. And I alternate between the white, the green, the white, and then like the craft. Yeah, the craft. That way 2 together aren't very similar in nature. So I guess that's rhyme or reasoning for that. And I am working with that 1/7. I like it. It's from an old, believe it or not, Target dollar spot find maybe a couple years ago. I just still have it in my stash. The reason it's still in my stash is because the colors are just a little off. Especially when it comes to greens. It's not classic greens that are seen in scrapbooking collections, so it just always looks a little bit like off compared to other collections during this time when they use greens for their sets. So I made like little slits in my paper photo, as you just saw. So they're slightly longer than my strips. The strips could have been, I think I made them 1 inch tall, and they are 6 inches wide, but I knew I wanted to have them be like a little bit of an overlay. So I made them a little bit longer up in near the present, so that they had that little like lip when they slide back in. I did my journaling on clear sticker paper, and I'm just applying that right now. So I made both journalings about 4 inches in length. That way the strip that goes to the back, so the construction of this, so as I'm making it, I was like, okay, I'm already seeing that it's too long for behind my photo, so I do have to cut it. And I needed to figure out a way to make it like an anchor. So I had to cut a piece of paper, as you see me doing now, that is wider than the opening, so that they both would get like stuck right there and not pull out all the way. Because I just feared like if it wasn't there, then whenever you're reading the journaling and you accidentally pull it all the way out, it would be hard to get it back in. So that was the reasoning for that. However, I will say when I did this, so you'll see me push it all back in, and I was like, voila, they're looking good. If you see where the anchors are at, I forgot to consider the holes. You know, the holes for the D-ring binders. So I think, I'll be honest, I think after all of this construction, you'll see at the end that I do in the end have to just cut them off. Do I remember making the anchors? I can't even remember this point, because I'm sorry, I am doing the voiceover a few days after the project. I just remember that when I was making the pocket and I put like a piece of vellum so that this could slide very nicely between each other, I was punching the holes for it to put it in my binder to take photos of it, and I realized that if I punch holes, then they would get stuck permanently, so they have to be shorter than that. So I had to do it like, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch shorter. It didn't interfere with my journaling, so I'm thankful I left enough like slack at the end, but definitely keep that in mind when you're if you try to do this technique, that Don't have the anchors be the entire width of the page. Have it shorter. That way they will not interfere with the D-ring. So you see I'm still like testing it out and making sure it's good. What I also will say, and I think I'll mention it in my outro, is that it would have been better with, I think, 4 presents, because you see how I have them overlapping? It's the overlapping on the ones that pull that also get caught on each other. So again, I think I'm doing these pages, but then giving you the ultimate techniques on how to do it better than I did. Probably use only 4 for the line, the vertical length down the page, because 5 with them overlapping causes a little bit of an interference when you're doing it the tab. So if I were doing this again, I would only use 4 presents, and then it would work out smoothly. And then also keep in mind, when you make your anchors, don't make them the length of the page, because this is where I'm figuring it out and I'm cutting off the anchors, and I was like, oh well, shoot. That was the moment, and I was just like, all right, well, no anchors. And I probably think I just snipped them off. I can't remember at this point if they're there or not. So yeah, and then I punched the holes, and that is finishing it up.
Okay, let's put together story 8, which is going to be using the actual wreaths for the actual page. It's just going to be like this insert. So I have this transparency of stars from last year's 3x8 collection. So we're going to use that to back it, right? I will put journaling in the top one. And now that I see it like that, it means the transparency probably can't be there. I thought it would be able to still read behind it, but some of those stars are opaque. So that one, so then it'll be like that for the transparency. We will make that a shaker, and then this will be the back of it. And it's my story about collecting Santa mugs now. Let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is see if I wanted to use the complete acetate piece or transparency piece to be like a binder ring length, and then have the as I'm showing you there, like have the holes and then have the circles be next to the holes for the binder with the acetate, or do I just want to cut the holes and punch the holes into the wreath itself? And I opt with punching the hole rings into the wreaths themselves. I think I veered on the side doing it that way to make it definitely like a little bit of a page insert. Once again, I think I keep on saying in my videos is that I'm trying to keep the bulk down. I do like my albums to be just 1 album per year and not ever really go into 2. And so some of these things is from, once again, experience, where I've done too many crafty things or bulking them up. And so I want to always make sure that when I do little insert pages like this, I don't add the bulk. Sorry for being repetitive. Okay, so back to the page. So I adhered the acetate with the stars on the bottom side, because I am making the bottom part of the 8 shaker pocket, and then the top part I just used, once again, some scraps that are sitting on my right side. These are just the offcuts of other cutouts, and it, to find a I think it came out to be like a 2.5-inch square piece of cardstock was fine. I don't know how to print in a circle. I think I've mentioned in the past, so it is like the biggest square possible without having too much of it lost in the corners, and I was okay with that. So that probably is like a 2.25 square that I did in MacBook Pro page program in order to get the text on clear sticker paper once again. So for the shaker part, I am just adhering a piece of vellum, again from that scrappy pile next to my desk, and having the sequences that I use from Spiegelmom scraps. I auditioned this pack. This one's one of the new ones. I think it's called Festive. And it has like pinks and greens and some reds. And I do like it. I just didn't love it. So then I was off at my stash of Spiegelmom sequences, because I am a design team member, so I have quite a collection. And I wanted to find more of the traditional colors. So I pulled out. My favorite is Moonshine, which are these like silvery clear bits. They almost look like glass. I love it. I have Silver Stardust, and then I have Hexalove. This one's really old. Hexalove's not in the shop anymore, but there is Gold Stardust still in the shop too, which are just tiniest stars. And I like that mix better for down below, so I'm just adhering some double-sided tape, and that way I'll have the 8 kind of fit right in there. I kind of just, lined it up, as you can see. Simple as that, because I know on the back side I'll be putting a whole full page photo, so the the transparenciness of the vellum will be lost anyway once the picture's on the back. And I was aware with it, but that's why I made it vellum and not just normal paper, so that it was a thinner piece of material between the two. So I measured out the length of the two wreaths together, which turned out to be, I think, a little bit, like I did it at 8, and I think the width was 4 inches. So I did it a little bit wider and longer than that. That way I knew my photo would get to all the edges of the wreath, so that all of these little curly, cute little sprig, wavy lines around the wreath that make it realistic, I took into consideration that my photo would be completely in the back, and it worked out perfectly. So then Joy and Love is a piece from the die cut pack, and I add a little bit of that hunter green word phrase stickers, and that will finish off the front. And then in the back side, I take some of those Tim Holtz, I think it's just like Christmas botanicals, and use a few poinsettias on the bottom, and then a sticker from an old Allie Edwards collection that says magic, because it just seemed a little plain in the bottom. And that will finish off my little shaker page 8 made of wreaths.
Okay, everyone, that will wrap up stories 7 and 8. Turned out so good. So 7 is my little winter moment here with the pullouts. And I will say, if you do this project yourself, do not have them overlap. I would say just probably remove one present from it and don't have them overlap, because overlapping them is the only reason why they're kind of getting caught on each other from time to time. And or they do this, and then it's like backwards, and then I'm like, oh no, it has to be like that. So that will be a little tricky when people have to read it, but I'll know better when they, touch it and come to it. And then this, again, so fantastic. All the glittery pieces are all from Spiegelmom Scraps. You saw me mix about 3 different packs. So we have Hexaglam Love is the gold. We had, the stars were Silver Stardust, and then the shimmery glass ones are called Moonshine. This one, I've had multiples. I always use this one. So that's fun. And then the pieces are all from Allie Edwards, and then my cup on the back, and then I used pieces from this poinsettia pack, Christmas Botanicals from Tim Holtz, for this little cluster, just because it looked a little odd being naked down there. So we just added, little something for it to be pretty. And then, yeah, we are set. We are good. We are doing fantastic in this project, everybody. Fantastic. I hope you're doing well. I hope you find some of my pages inspiring to use the elements in your kit. And how cute is this, like, side by side for 7 and 8? Oh, and that was the thing. I have to pick out another 7. I had this one. Sorry. That was totally, like, random. I was done with my outro. I just didn't like the colors. The 7 is a little weird. The green is a little weird. It's not the same. I think I might just add so many gold numbers from all of my Allie. These are too small. This one, these are like more sans serif. These are a little bit more stylized. Let's go with the sans serif one. Let's take a 7. Okay. It's a little bit more subtle, but I liked it better than that 7. I mean, it had the right idea with that circle piece, but I forgot about that. So 7, 8 complete. Stay tuned for my next video showing 9 and 10, which I think I already have an idea for 9, and then we'll go from there. And yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm still like thinking and like flipping and ideas flowing. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. Please give this video a thumbs up, and until next time, everyone, bye.